One urban myth I want to debunk is that major gift fundraisers should come to an organisation with a little black book of major donors ready to go. So just put yourself in a situation where you have a really great major donor fundraiser and they have secured a brilliant major donor program for you and your organisation. And you're really, really going with that. You're really thriving with that program. You're getting some regular income, you're getting some big gifts. It's a really useful part of your income diversity strategy. And that fundraiser gets a new job and they leave. And they take all of those donors with them because that is what it means for a fundraiser to have a little black book of donors. They don't gift them and then leave them with you and then go on to their next organisation and gift some more. They use them and then they take them with them. So you have invested in a member of staff, you've invested in a program, you've become reliant on an income stream, and that person leaves, and so do all of those donors. That is not a sustainable position for your organisation to find itself in, and it's not okay. So it's really important that donors have their relationships with the organisation more than with the person. Now, inevitably, people buy people, people like people, relationships are forged between people. But maintaining a level of professionalism means that ultimately the purpose of having that relationship with that person for the donor is that they can support a cause that they are connected to, that they are inclined to support, that they are passionate about. From a fundraiser's point of view, if we had a black book of major donors and every time we went to a new organisation, we phoned those donors or we wrote to them and said, hey, I'm now working for so-and-so. Do you fancy giving? Those people would stop answering the phone to us and our black book would disappear overnight. It just wouldn't exist more than one, two, maybe the third organisation, you might get away with it. But by the third organisation, it would just disappear. People don't want to have relationships with people in order to be tapped up for cash. They want relationships with people because they like them and they get on with them and there is a commonality there. But it would become a very transactional relationship for the fundraiser if in order to get a job, they were having to sell their personal connections every time. Therefore, it can feel like there's no point in investing in major donor fundraiser because you don't know anyone. And if you hire a fundraiser and they also don't know anyone, what's the point of hiring the fundraiser? Where do you even start? And the truth is, thanks to the internet, we have an awful lot of places we can start, even if we don't currently know any major donors. So the exact place to start will vary depending on whether you're a local charity or a national charity, what your cause area is and all the rest of it. But let me give you some broad examples. So if you are a local charity based in a specific location, I'm going to use Kent as my example because it's the county I live in. It's the one that I'm most familiar with. But these things exist in other places as well. Then connect with your community foundation. A lot of the local philanthropists in Kent have a fund through Kent Community Foundation to support their philanthropy. So having a relationship, a proper, deep and meaningful personal relationship that isn't based on transactions and grant applications, but where you hang out with the senior staff there and you know them and they know you, and there's a mutual trust and a mutual bond, means that you can start to be connected to local philanthropists. That's your first one. The second one is to buy a copy of whatever the equivalent of Kent Life is. So Surrey Life, Northumberland Life, I don't know what they're called locally. But these are the glossy magazines of the county set. And the county set tend to be the more moneyed people where you live. So the back pages of that magazine will always have, I don't know, 3 or 4 pages of the fancy events that have been happening this month. And some of them will be community foundation events and the who's who of who turned up. So, it's not quite the same as going on Instagram after the day after the Met Gala and ogling all the amazing outfits, but it is a localized version of that. And over the months, you get to know who are the regulars, who's turning up to things, who's there doing stuff. And you start to build a list of who's who in your county that you can then work through your connections to try and become connected to. So you're building your own list. You also have the deputy lieutenants and the lieutenancy office of all of the counties. So if you're not familiar, the Lord Lieutenant of a county is the King's representative in that county. And then that Lord Lieutenant, who also can be a woman, but I understand, and I might have that wrong, but I understand is still called the Lord Lieutenant, has a series of deputy called deputy lieutenants. They have DL at the end of their name. They might be known as the DLs. They certainly are in Kent known as that. They all hang out as a group and work out what they can do for the betterment of their county. In Kent, they have different portfolios. So you have some for East Kent, some for West Kent, some for North, some for South, some for commerce, some for tourism, some for culture. So, and there is a lieutenancy office for every county, and you can find out who those people are, find out if there's a portfolio for the not-for-profit sector or for your particular area, and again, start to build relationships with those key individuals. They may or may not be high net worth individuals locally, but what they definitely are is the kind of people who are getting invited to the events where the high net worth individuals are. In Kent, we also have something called Kent Ambassadors, which is very similar. It tends to be more business people than the well-to-do, well-heeled set. But again, these are people for whom they're taking on a voluntary role, an honorary role to further the betterment of their county through lots of different ways. So you've got some routes there to start finding people, councillors, sheriffs, all of those sort of honorary titleage. I realise councillor is a really hard work job and is not honorary, but you've got all of those kind of local networks of politicians and other sort of quasi-governmental positions that you can start to work through and build your connections there. And in building your connections, you're building a reputation amongst those people. So you are building a reputation for whatever you are doing as a charity as a place of excellence in doing that thing. So if you are a local charity that is supporting families with a particular health condition, then you want to be building your reputation as the people who should be referred to, who know what you're doing, who are making a difference, who are having an impact. So any kind of events that you're having where you showcase how excellent your work is, getting those people along, not to ask them for money, but just to show them how excellent you are, so that you're building that reputation at all times. Thinking bigger than locally, it can be hard. It can feel like, geographically you're looking at the whole county, the whole of the UK. So that's too much, or even just the whole of England can feel like too much. And that's where we're really lucky with the internet and we can make some really big inroads. So I have a huge love and also hate relationship with LinkedIn. I could write them a very long list of snagging on the ways that LinkedIn algorithms can be improved to work better. Unfortunately, they don't want to hear from me, but LinkedIn nonetheless is an amazing resource, right? So all of you, chief exec, head of services, fundraising person, this might all be the same person. If you're a micro charity, it might be different people if you're a medium or large charity. All of you who are senior enough for a donor to want to connect with you, and or it is your job to connect with donors, should have a really robust LinkedIn profile that really centers your organization, and you are regularly posting daily, alternate daily, regularly posting directly from your feed about the difference your organization is making, the need that your organization is meeting, the need your organization is not yet meeting. So you are becoming an expert in the volume of need as well as in the delivery to meet that need. You are showcasing that there is a higher volume of need, if you like. You also then obviously need to connect with people who care about that. So you can do searches without paying for LinkedIn Premium based on job titles. Starting with grant managers and trustees of foundations can be a really good way to do this, to build your online network. And those sorts of philanthropists who are funding things in your field will be connected to individual philanthropists. So once you've connected and they stop being secondary connections, they become first degree connections, then everyone they're connected to is easier for you to look through and find. And you build your connections, then you broadcasting this expertise regularly, and you will come across the desks of the donor advised fund managers, the wealth managers, the philanthropists themselves, the philanthropist's personal family office, philanthropy advisors, all of those people. You're looking to build connections to all of those people and constantly showcasing your expertise. This is not about going onto LinkedIn and saying, our Scout Hut is in desperate need of a rebuild. Are there some local builders here locally who can help us? If you are a local charity, that is absolutely a brilliant thing to do. And if you've got the right connections to local people, you can have huge success. But this is about not asking, this is about showcasing your expertise, because those people who are giving away their money want to connect to those who have got expertise in the field that they care about, and they're looking for ways to do that. And the same goes for attending conferences, symposiums, all of that stuff. So if your cause area has an annual conference, so if there's an annual state of cancer research conference, there's a autism in under fives conference, you need to be attending, you need to be networking with the people there. You also ideally need to have a seat at the table. You need to be showcasing your expertise and being part of the conversation about what you do to support your families who are looking for an autism diagnosis under the age of 5, children with autism that is diagnosed that young. You need to be there, again, showcasing your expertise. And that is how you can build a great black book of your own that sits in your organization. And fundraisers will come and fundraisers will go, and they will plug into your black book. They will build those reputations, then they will leave and they'll plug into the next organization's black book instead.